We're joined from Cairo by Ashraf El Ashry, Al Ahram newspaper managing editor. Mr. Ashraf, thank you so much for joining us on Q News. And first off, what significance does the gathering at Rafah crossing hold in the broader context of Egypt's stance characterized by the citizen disapproval on Palestinian displacement?
And to the viewers, this is a political symbolic message by the political powers and the civil society and all civil society powers in Egypt expressing their stance in front of the crossing, the Rafah crossing, that Egypt is supporting the Palestinian population and will not allow the relocation of the Gaza population outside of their homeland. Egypt will not have the Palestinian cause killed. It is a message to Israel and also to the United States of America, and choosing the location of the Rafah crossing is symbolic to express that this is the only way that we reach the Gazan population. It is a high degree of resilience and solidarity and the Egyptian opposition to any the displacement, and this will, and I think we will see this in different governorates across Egypt to express the collective rejection and opposition to displace the Gaza population. It is we're gonna see the echo of this message at the international community level and the Israel and the United States.
Now, sir, how has Egypt's historical role in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict shaped its current position on Palestinian displacement, especially in the context of Rafah?
Today, and what we see today is a continuation of the Egyptian support march for 77 years. We have been to war more than once for Palestine. We paid a very precious price defending the Palestinian territories and the Palestinian populations. We have been incubators politically and economically, and with the president Sisi assuming office, the Palestinian issue rose once again as a high priority after its decline following the tensions in the Arab world following the Arab Spring. Egypt is now working to establish the Palestinian cause at the forefront of the Arab issues. Egypt has had 5 rounds of mitigating the conflicts between Hamas and Israel for 5 times. Now we're working as mediators in cooperation with Qatar and the US, sending humanitarian aids and still providing all means of support to the Palestinian population. For the past 15 months, Egypt has stressed that it is fully aware of the schemes of the Palestinian displacement. We have clarified our stance towards this displacement since the following day. For October 7th, we have warned that what is happening in the Gaza Strip is an attempt to evacuate the population and turning the Gaza Strip into an uninhabitable area. Egypt is always defending its fundamentals for the establishment of an independent Palestinian state in accordance with the historic principles of Egypt.
Now, sir, sorry for cutting in, but building more on this, how do Egypt's delegations and citizens at Rafah affect the broader perception of its leadership within the Arab world and among international actors as well?
Are witnessing today tens of thousands of Egyptians raising the Egyptian flag, as well as signs and to oppose the displacement of Palestinians, is a message to the international community to embrace the idea of the rejection of the displacement on a wide range. This has been clarified by President Sisi during the past few days, which provoked other international stance. We have found France and other European states opposing the schemes to displace and the Trump scheme to relocation of the Gaza population. Now these protests and demonstration peacefully in front of the Rafah crossing is an announcement of the Egyptian people stance, and we will witness during the next few days Arab cities expressing the same stance led by the Egyptian proactive situation here.
Now, what role does Egypt play in mediating humanitarian aid to Gaza through Rafah, and how does this align with its political and diplomatic interests?
Egypt has achieved a great victory opening the Rafah crossing today after a month of closure. The governor of northern Sinai announced the opening of the Rafah crossing today. 50 trucks of fuels will be passed today, in addition to a number of trucks of humanitarian basics, and also receiving 50 injured Palestinians will be transported from Gaza to Egypt tomorrow morning to receive proper health care in Arish and in the Mansoura governorate. We have a medical plan drafted by Egypt to receive hundreds of Palestinian injured on a daily basis to provide proper medical and health care. In addition to the flow of humanitarian aid among food and water and fuel and medical supplies, and this will be supported by the opening of the Rafah crossing, which is a victory against the Israeli attempts to hinder the access of aid to the Gaza Strip.
Now, sir, building on the third round of the exchange process that took place yesterday and the delay that took place from the Israeli side, what are the key concerns raised by Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu regarding future releases, and how do they affect the continuation of the ceasefire?
Qatar next Monday, we should start a new round of the preparations for phase 2 and 3 in accordance with what has been agreed upon during the past 10 days, and there is a US determination conveyed to the Egyptian and Qatari mediators to continue with the phase 2 and 3. And obviously there is the US pressures, but also a lot of concerns, as Smotrich, the Minister of Finance in the Israeli government, is working to stop the negotiations for phase 2 and 3 and returning back to war. This will be depending on what Netanyahu does. Is he going to respond to the far right pressures, or are they gonna agree and go forward with the phase 2 and 3 with the US pressures?
Now, sir, sorry for cutting in, but in light of the fact that the fourth round of the exchange process will be taking place tomorrow, what are your expectations regarding this? Will it go smoothly, or will we witness delays like last night?
And yesterday was discussed with between the Israeli and Palestinian sides. there will be no show of force by Hamas once again, and Netanyahu requested that there is a fast release of the hostages as well as the fast release of detainees on the Israeli side from the Aufur prison. And I think Hamas and Jihad received a message from the mediator for a fast release without any show of power or any delays, so that Netanyahu and Israel do not have an excuse to hold off the release of detainees. This solved a lot of disagreements, and Hamas stressed that they will not hinder or delay the release of the hostages tomorrow. One of the hostages to be released tomorrow has the U.S. nationality.
Now, sir, looking at the wider picture, what does the exchange of Palestinian and Israeli detainees mean for the broader peace process in the region?
Any sort of understanding and implementing the three phases of the ceasefire with the U.S. pressure on Israel and the help of Qatar and Egyptian mediators. This will be followed by a second and third phase of hostages and detainees exchange, and then we will reach the final phase of the second day in the Gaza Strip. The PLO has good aspiration and societal and consensus to bring peace by independent individuals to take over the control of the Gaza Strip in the third phase after the exchange of hostages, and this will depend on Netanyahu if he does not make any excuses to continue the fight, as he will in this case cooperate with the mediators and with the US to implement the third phase as planned, conditional that provided that US pressures Netanyahu and the Israeli government to not create any new obstacles.
Now, sir, I want to ask you about the impact from the provocative statements from Netanyahu's far-right wing parties, Smotrich and Ben Gvir. What's the impact of this on the continuity of the ceasefire, since they view it as a surrender?
There are a lot of concerns regarding these statements that they will have a negative impact, and that Netanyahu might actually give in to the pressures of Smotrich, and as he fears his coalition and his party, and that Netanyahu might give in, stops at the conclusion of the first phase and then continues the war. Smotrich is now threatening of continuing the fight after concluding the first phase of the deal. Will that actually take place? I don't think the US administration will allow that, because the Trump administration wants to succeed with the three phases of the agreement. They say that this agreement is the credit of this is only to Trump, and he will not allow the collapse of this agreement.
Now, sir, tomorrow the first medical evacuation will also take place of 50 Palestinians that need medical care. What are your expectations regarding this process? Will it go as smoothly as well?
It will go smoothly. There is a consensus with the European Union. The European Union will provide buses and special convoys to the transportation of 50 Palestinians and their loved ones from the Dar Shifa hospital in the Gaza Strip. The European Union is coordinating with the Egyptian side with all of the supplies possible and ambulances to receive the injured in the Arish hospital to receive treatment. It is fully coordinated and it will go very smoothly. Egypt is well prepared with hospitals and ambulances and medics to facilitate the movement and the transportation of these 50 Palestinians to.
Now, sir, regarding UNRWA, Israel is currently working on obstructing its UNRWA's efforts, and France and Germany and Britain, they expressed opposition to this. Can this have an impact?
The European stance now is very positive and saving the day in Gaza and rejecting the Trump scheme even to displace the Gaza population. I think the European stance is contradicting with the US stance. We have a positive European stance to support the Palestinian population to not go back to the war once again. And I think that the European Union is participating in the monitoring of the Rafah crossing on the Palestinian side. And I think they align with the Arab and Egyptian stance to solve a lot of issues on the political and negotiation level.
Now, sir, from your point of view, why did Hamas characterize this exchange process as a victory for Palestinians?
Hamas achieved some positive outcomes because they rejected to compromise without the Israeli party or the Israeli party compromising as well. They had the target of eliminating Hamas and they failed, which led to Netanyahu accepting the terms of Hamas, and always Hamas and Israel, they both compromised to reach this point and reach an understanding of a three-phase agreement. And there is no complete victory to Israel or Hamas. They both made some progress and compromised to reach this point.
Now, sir, to what extent did this exchange process indicate Netanyahu's political failure?
This deal caused a lot of casualties on the or losses on the Israeli side. Netanyahu thought that he would have some popularity after achieving some political or military goals in Gaza. His popularity declined massively after taking the deal with Hamas, as he lost a lot in the Israeli internal affairs, and he does not have the support he had before. He is in a very tough position, and he's now receiving guarantees and military support from Trump to expand the war with Iran during the upcoming period.
From Cairo, that was Ashraf El Ashry, Al Ahram newspaper managing editor. Thank you so much for joining us here on Q News.